Yes, my name is David Siddons. I'm president of the David Siddons Group. I am a self-professed economics junkie. More importantly, I spend my time with a team of 11. We sell real estate across Miami into Broward, and we reflect on the market's behavior. And it's really just born from our day-to-day experience of dealing with clients. We try to lean more into that than just the numbers. And we like to get a sense of where the market's going according to what our clients tell us in every day, hundreds and hundreds of feedback loops coming to us. And we are ranked in the top 20 teams in the country, mid-sized teams. So very proud of my group, and hopefully what I can give you is some good insights. Really 10 points. I'm going to raise 10 points in 10 minutes, make it quick, about the Miami market and where we're going. So the first thing to say, if you've been watching the news recently, I'm sure you'll notice that there's a lot of news coming out about other cities in the US, Austin, namely one, Phoenix, San Francisco, a number of cities that are really struggling right now, and they're seeing corrections after huge influxes of people migrating during the pandemic. Miami is not one of them. Miami has done extremely well, but it's a very difficult city to understand because there are 16 different neighborhoods, there are 5 different price points within those neighborhoods, and then there's condos and homes. There's 150 variable answers, so it's just not simple. So if you go out and you read about what's going on in Miami, please bear in mind that that is probably a microcosm view. Miami overall obviously is great, but there's an enormous amount of spread. So I'm going to start off with the single-family homes. We'll talk about homes and condos, but the single-family home market is expected to rise about 5% in Miami for this year. And I think, honestly, if you look at some of the primary markets, which are the recipients of migrating families, which are coming from big groups, big corporate relocations like the Citadels of this world, Coconut Grove, Coral Gables, Pinecrest, South Miami, High Pines, and other areas that are around the best private schools, we're seeing big increases. I think we can see increases more around 7 to 10%. And that hopefully can give you a good setup for the rest of the year as we move forward. And I think that's really sustainable. The condo market is pretty stable overall. I will say there are other sub-markets within the market that you have to be a little bit careful of. And it's particular types of product that we're looking at in, say, the 1 to 3 range in Brickell that's resale older product. That's starting to accumulate sizable amounts of inventory. We've seen a double of inventory in the last year in that sector. We've seen increases of inventory in the ultra-luxury sector in areas like south of 5th. Again, resale product, and Sunny Isles, the same thing, the 3 to 5 market, we've seen increases of inventory. Now the inventory has increased up to, this is what we call 9 or 10 months for us. And the inventory is coming to around 14, and sometimes in worst case scenarios 20. Not as high as it was in the last cycles, but the speed of which we've got there can be a little concerning. So I say it's important to consider this and be aware as we move forward. The investor class product, if you look in Miami, you have primary and investor types of consumers out there, and the investor class right now is seeing some corrections in the rental market of around 7%, and that could give an influence for those investors to start to look at their returns, especially in light of the values of the units that have now gone up by as much as 50 and in some cases 100%. We have seen massive rises of condo product value increase over the last couple of years. It's absolutely staggering. And the returns of those investments now, when someone bought a unit and they were getting, let's say, $10,000 a month, and now the unit value's gone up by 100%, the ROI is not as good. So it's starting to pull back a bit. The upside of this is that long-term, Miami is looking very, very good. I deal a lot with groups like Citadel. I feel like every day I'm showing a house or a condo to someone from Citadel, and it comes from good experience knowing actually who are handling the migrations. There's 350 families. This is from an authority outside of this room that I heard, and I think it's pretty accurate, of families moving in, and only half of those have come so far. Plus there's Millennium, Tigress Capital. There's about a good dozen big hedge fund groups, and then all the financial groups that orbit them. So there's a huge amount of business gravity that's just drawing people in from California and New York, and it'll continue to do so. I mentioned critical mass. I'm going to go back to critical mass just a second, which was on point 4. Critical mass is an important aspect because in the last couple of years we saw massive amounts of people move here. And what I've observed when I take people around and show them homes and condos is they'll say to me, you know, my friends moved here and now I want to move. Or we'll sell to a family and they'll say, oh, my brother's calling you, my sister's calling you, my boss is moving down, the other team members are moving down. We have now got to that point of, it feels like the party they've got going. The music is blaring, everyone's having a great time, and everyone's leaving the uncool parties, and they're coming hard and heavy into Miami. Still New York, still California, still DC, still Chicago. These are still driving engines. This city is not going down, it's just going to keep going up with a legitimate engine that we didn't quite have before. And this can really be attested to compound this effect with the fact that people simply aren't leaving. Me and my team have moved 148 families in the last 18 months into Miami, 2 years. And even today, I was on the way here, I had 2 more calls on the way in the car here from other families still coming in, following all the rest of the crowd. We interviewed the heads of admissions for a number of schools. We run a podcast called Better Decisions, and they told me that the attrition rate is around 1%. And that is an interesting statistic given the fact that there just aren't any more spaces now. People are not leaving, people are still wanting to come in. So that tells us that unlike Austin, Phoenix and other cities, there's no retraction, there's no return to the origin where these migrating families and businesses have come from. They're here to stay. And as we go through, one of the things people look at, and I hear it all the time, and they bring me statistics and say, well, we've had fewer sales in 2023. We have, because we don't have the inventory. The interesting thing about the Miami market is that the inventory is still very, very dry. And if you go into primary neighborhoods, it's 3 to 4 months. The luxury market is still doing very, very well, but the seller's paradox, as we call it, is that sellers right now have a situation where they say, I bought at a good price, my taxes are higher if I sell, and my mortgage rate is going to be higher because interest rates are up. I simply have nowhere to go, and there's not enough product for them to move. So right now there's a bit of a standoff. Inventory in these primary markets is about 4%. The luxury market, and I want to step back, and it's okay, we can stay where we are, but I wanted to reflect on the new condo market that obviously is getting developed right now. There's over 30 projects coming out of the ground in Miami over the next couple of years. I have had the pleasure of doing a number of transactions across a number of these big projects. I have noticed, and again, I've been reporting in the market since 2010. In 2015, we saw a lot of product come out that was somewhat generic. A lot of product that would sell around $750 a square foot. If you looked at the urban core, that was the product that was selling at that time. And there was beach condo product that was a little bit higher. Now, today, I can tell you that I'm seeing most of the product that's coming out of the ground is over $2,000 a square foot for new construction, and the beachfront product is over $3,000 a square foot and is selling. And the reason it's selling is because the luxury market has now got the audience that want the product. There are luxury buyers out there. Not everyone is looking for, again, as good as the house market is, as strong as it is. People are now looking to the condo market again and saying, okay, what are my options out there? And thankfully, the developers are building now these primary residents, much bigger units, much bigger spaces, much more suited to the primary life. And this is fantastic. And I think we're going to see this changing demographic buy a lot more of that. And as we go into 2023, well, we're well into 2023 now, what I've observed is a number of record-breaking sales. We've had a number of sales over 30 million. We had a sale on Palm Island at 32 million. We had sales on Four Seasons Surfside. These are resales on the MLS. Sales there coming in at 22 million. We've got currently right now, luxury product now hitting the market. We have 10 products, 10 houses over $50 million in Miami, 10. That's pretty staggering to think of it. And the dollar per square foot that we're selling at is now at a record-breaking sale. We have condos that are now easily eclipsing $3,000 square foot sales this year. We've had a number of sales that I've heard about through the grapevine with big developers that are eclipsing $4,000 a square foot, which we haven't seen before. And for example, this is a house, and in the house market, we're closing this house on Thursday in Key Biscayne on the water at $3,400 a square foot. It's 50% higher than any house that ever sold on the Key. And along with that, we see a number of stellar homes now. If they're going to trade, they're going to trade at record numbers. So sales have slowed down, but we don't have the product. Luxury product is what everyone's chasing. It's very much in demand. And the migration of business into Miami is as strong as ever. And I see it going nowhere but up. And that's my summary of Miami market.